Divine for coming on. I want to get a couple of final thoughts before we go now from the two gentlemen who've been with me here in the studio. Rod Wheeler, as a former homicide investigator, your thoughts on this case?
Well, real quickly, Brett, I would say not jump to conclusions. Let's give the police department down there adequate time to really investigate this thing, to find out what happened. And again, our condolences go out to the families of the victims today.
Some of whom may not yet even know. Bill Sammon, your thoughts as a parent whose children survived this episode today?
The thought that keeps coming back to me is that I was fortunate enough to reach my two children and find out that they were safe. And I keep thinking about those 32 sets of parents that have that horrifying feeling today about, having sent their kid down to a beautiful little idyllic place like Blacksburg to get an education, and to find out the unthinkable that their kid has been killed. It's tragic, it's heartbreaking, and the students that are surviving, the students that are still there today, this will define their experience at Virginia Tech, unfortunately.
A day none of us will ever forget. Thanks to both of you. That's it from Washington, but stay tuned for Fox's continuing coverage of today's massacre at Virginia Tech. Up next, Martha McCallum in New York. Good night from here.
More than 30 people dead as a college campus becomes the scene of the deadliest mass shooting in American history.
The university was struck with a tragedy that we consider of monumental proportion.
Reports that some students jumped from windows to escape. Word that others were lined up and executed.
None of the students that were in the classroom came out alive.
We have not determined yet who all the victims are.
Tears and rage at a university in shock.
Today our nation grieves with those who have lost loved ones at Virginia Tech.
As students, parents, and professors struggle to make sense of madness, to cope with a terrible loss, and to comprehend a crime that defies any rational explanation.
It's just utter shock how anybody could do this to anybody else.
We were already saying this is just like a college Columbine. This is just really sad.
We can't find her anywhere, and she was across from the classroom that had the shooting.
Tonight, breaking developments and some answers in the shootings at Virginia Tech.
Live from Blacksburg, Virginia, this is a special edition.
Two shootings, in fact, on two different parts of this campus, 2 hours apart. Good evening, everyone. I'm Martha McCallum. The first at a dorm, the second inside a classroom a half-mile away. It was there that witnesses described students jumping out of windows, jumping for their lives as the sounds of bullets echoed across the school. And that is cell phone video just shot outside the engineering building where all of this came to an end. It's where police closed in on the gunman, finding him dead inside the classroom. They say that he killed himself, but only after the shootings left 32 others dead.
This is something that no one will ever get over. I mean, the people who died, yes, they've finished their pain, but the pain for everybody else will go on forever.
Knowing that I could have been in one of those classrooms, it's shocking.
We do not know if the two incidents are connected. That's part of the investigation that we're looking into, and we're trying to determine whether they are or are not related.
There are so many questions that are still to be answered here. Police say that they do not know for sure who the shooter was, nor whether he carried out both of today's attacks.
We locked down the building where we thought it occurred and when we thought the incident was contained. We had no reason to suspect any other incident was going to occur.
And in the meantime, shock across this community. The grief for some has not begun to set in yet, and yet for many a sense of anger over how the crisis was handled. Students say they received emails alerting them to the first shooting only after the second one had occurred. The school left defending itself tonight over the decision to continue classes, even though it was clear that there was a gunman on the loose. But of course, another incident did occur, and now the second guessing begins. Team Fox coverage of this tragedy starting tonight with Molly Henneberg, who's been on the scene live at Virginia Tech campus. Good evening, Molly.
Hi, Martha. The police are identifying the victims. Apparently some of the bodies are still inside that engineering building. Parents right now, police say, are going to start getting calls, quote, very shortly, that their child was among those killed today. The gunman killed 32 people, 15 others were wounded before